Hi everybody. Today I am here to talk about power of attorney and what to do when family members suspect abuse. Specifically with a family member who is the power of attorney, who isn't doing their job because maybe they don't know how to deal with the situation, or maybe they refuse to deal with a challenging situation. In this case, the concern is that the family member, either one of your brothers and sisters, or maybe even your parent, who is the power of attorney for your other parent, isn't doing their job. Because many times family members who lack conflict resolution skills or don't know how to manage money or healthcare, sometimes they let situations go until they become much bigger problems that families have to deal with. So stay with me while I share an example and offer suggestions for what you can do if somebody in your family is not taking their power of attorney responsibilities seriously, or if they are mismanaging money or healthcare. I'm Pamela D Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, speaker, and consultant who has served as a power of attorney, a guardian, a trustee, a personal representative of the estate for clients, as well as a case manager. And today I advise families on caregiving issues, and I can help families who are navigating power of attorney issues. Information about my professional background is linked below this video. You can learn about me, go to my website. Please do like this video, follow my channel, and comment to share your story below. This helps other people looking for similar information find their way here. Being an agent under power of attorney, whether financial or healthcare or both, it is a very serious duty that you have to the person who appointed you, to your sibling, to one of your parents, to both of your parents, to your grandparents, to your spouse. People who don't have a lot of experience managing money or managing healthcare or have conflict resolution skills can really struggle in these roles unless they have access to help and advice. And so as a power of attorney, you have the right to consult with people, to seek out advisors to help you if you're struggling in this role. Let's talk about family conflict over power of attorney and how this happens. Somebody appoints an agent. If this is a family member, one child may be chosen over 4 other children. And so when that child begins fulfilling their role as a power of attorney, the other children may object to how they're doing their job. Now, often in families, there is caregiver, and sometimes this caregiver is the power of attorney. And because they appear to have a lot of control and they're doing a lot of things, some family members may say, well, you should be doing it this way, or you should consider that, or I don't think you're doing this right. Happens all the time. And so other people in the family who are not the power of attorney may be concerned over how that power of attorney is spending money on care or the healthcare decisions that this person is making. So in this video, we're going to look at the healthcare side of the equation. So let's say that you are the power of attorney or your sibling. As that person, you are appointed to do what the person who appointed you would want done. If they could make decisions and do all this themselves, that's your role. You don't get to do what you want to do. You also do not get to make decisions that would go against the wishes of the person who appointed you. Now, if there's a situation of dementia, which we're going to talk about in a minute, this can be a little different. But so let's say the person is fully able to make their own decisions and your sibling is really kind of going against what mom or dad would have wanted, but let's say that a sibling lives with your mom and dad. And your mom or dad are afraid to say, you know what, I don't think they're doing a good job. They're afraid to complain because they need that person's help. Because you and the other kids are 2,000 miles away. You're not involved every day. You're not helping. So in a situation like this, your parent has kind of set themselves up for potential abuse or neglect from the sibling who's living with them who is appointed power of attorney. In marital situations, it's the same. Your parents live together. They spend most of their time together. They care for each other. So there can be this imbalance of, I am a good caregiver, or I just can't do this. So in this power of attorney relationship, there should be a lot of back and forth conversations and sometimes negotiation about potential areas of disagreement, or maybe a doctor makes a recommendation and you're not sure whether your loved one should follow it. Maybe you need more information. And these situations and conflict can arise, especially if a person needs care and maybe they're procrastinating about making a decision, or they're refusing care, or maybe because of dementia or Alzheimer's, they don't realize that they're not paying the bills, or they're not bathing or eating or doing all these things that they would normally do if they didn't have this health condition. So let's look at a very specific example. You're the power of attorney for both of your parents. You have 5 other siblings. Your mother has dementia and your father has a couple of health problems, but he's generally okay. You live 100 miles away. Your 5 siblings who live in town are visiting, and they're calling you saying, hey, Dad is not taking care of Mom. She's not getting her medications on time. I go over and there's no food in the house. She's lost weight. Mom's not bathing. She's wearing dirty clothes all the time. And Dad seems to have checked out. He does not seem to care. He's not coping well with the situation. And you've got to do something. So initially you talk to your dad and you say, Dad, why don't we just get a caregiver in? And Dad's like, I refuse to have anybody else in my house. I can take care of your mother. Well, your brothers and sisters have also tried too. And they're telling you now that you have to do something. You have the legal responsibility. Dad appointed you. You accepted that role. But you're kind of in a quandary because you don't want to make your dad mad by forcing a caregiver into the home. But you visited and the situation's not good. Your mom's losing weight. She is wearing dirty clothes. The house is dirty. Dad just doesn't seem to be coping with this. Your siblings are saying, hey, if you don't do something, we're going to make a report of neglect to the police, to Adult Protective Services. If we have to, we're going to take you to court to have you removed as power of attorney. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, do we really need to do all that? So what can you as the power of attorney do? Based on the fact that you don't want to cause a problem with your parents, your siblings are all over you because they think you're not doing your job, but you're not really good at resolving conflict, and you don't feel that you have the experience to really create a plan of care for your parents or advise your dad about dementia. You know a little bit about it, but not a lot about it. So here's a couple of steps. If you haven't really had a very serious conversation with your dad, and I do mean serious, Dad, what's going on? I'm worried about Mom. 5 brothers and sisters are complaining that you're not taking care of her. I realize this could be so stressful. Maybe you don't know about dementia, but can we get some help in here? And if Dad still says no, then the next step is to say, okay, Dad, we're going to have a family meeting. We're all going to get together. You, me, 5 other siblings, and we're going to talk about this because we don't feel that Mom's being cared for, and something has to be done. So you can do this in person, you can do it on a Zoom call, but kind of have an agenda for things that you want to talk about and come at it from a place of concern for your mom, but also concern for your father, who's probably really stressed that his wife has dementia, and maybe they had all these retirement plans and they were going to go do all these things, and now he doesn't feel like he can even leave her alone in the house because she's forgotten everything. So let's say you have this family meeting and Dad is still like, I don't feel comfortable with having somebody come into the home, and, he's just like stalling. So then what you want to do is maybe come back a week later and say, okay, Dad, we all got together. This is just you as the power of attorney and Dad. And we've talked about this, and we still have concerns, and we're trying to understand what more concerns you have about this. So do you understand how serious it is when mom doesn't take these medications, because they help not only her memory up here, but she has some heart problems, and she's lost 15 pounds, and that's not good for her, because if she gets sick, she's got no reserves. And mom used to always dress nice, and she had her hair done, and now look at her. We don't even recognize her. The point here is to realize that sometimes the primary caregiver can be so overwhelmed that they can't think beyond the moment, right? They can't think beyond today. They can't think about hiring a caregiver or what that might mean. And they can't see the long run. So what's the seriousness of, well, so mom misses her medications for a week, right? Or mom's not bathing. Well, she could get a urinary tract infection. She could become dehydrated. All kinds of things could happen. Dad may not understand that. And so as a power of attorney to both your parents, you have a responsibility to your mom who cannot speak up for herself, which is why this conflict has to be resolved. Your mom can't tell you, hey, your father's not taking care of me. He's impatient with me. He yells at me all the time. I need all this help. He doesn't cook. I'm not bathing. I need all of this. Your mom cannot say that to you because she has dementia. And so if after all of this your dad is still resistant, what you can do is you can seek out a third-party power of attorney advisor if that provision was not in the original power of attorney document. So I'll take a moment to explain what this is. A third-party power of attorney advisor is an independent person who doesn't know the family, who you hire, and your father agrees to hire, who comes in and asks questions about the situation and evaluates it and makes a recommendation to the family, including your father. I consult with families and I serve as this advisor. And this can be a huge benefit when an elderly parent is just resistant because they're overwhelmed, or maybe they think the kids are telling them what to do. And maybe really everybody in the family doesn't know what to do. They don't know how to plan. They don't know how to deal with this dementia situation, or what caregiving costs are, or what should be done, because mom and dad really didn't talk about this and they didn't make a plan. So this is where a third-party power of attorney advisor can come in. Now, a third-party power of attorney advisor can also be listed as a component of a power of attorney document to provide advice to the person, the agent who's appointed as power of attorney, to help navigate family concerns about, is the power of attorney doing their job? Is they not doing their job? Are they spending money irresponsibly? Does mom need a lot of health care and this person doesn't know what they're doing? So parents can put this in their power of attorney documents, or really anyone can put this in their power of attorney documents, to say, I'm appointing this agent who I realize may not have all the experience. So I'm also saying that I'm appointing this person as a power of attorney advisor, or I require that my family find a power of attorney advisor who can advise in situations where there is any type of disagreement. So what this allows is, if the power of attorney is not doing their job, and in this situation there's 5 other children who have issues, right? Any one of those 5 can contact this power of attorney advisor and say, you know what? We need you to step in. It's in my parents' document. We need you to step in and help us because this is a mess. And so what this avoids is, this avoids your siblings or anybody in the family having to call the police to make a report, having to call Adult Protective Services to do an investigation. Because if you've done this, depending on where you live, the police and Adult Protective Services can be so overwhelmed with cases that yours is not their priority. It sits there and nothing happens. And so you've tried to get help, but nothing happened. So taking steps to avoid conflict in families about a power of attorney who was appointed, who may not be acting or may not have the skills to resolve conflict or know how to manage money or know how to plan for care, this power of attorney advisor can resolve all of that conflict. Now, the caveat or the requirement is that the family has to agree to meet with this person, share information. It's an independent third party that nobody knew before this. You just all find this person together and you meet with them and you agree that, yes, we're going to take your recommendations, you're going to follow the recommendations. And if you are that power of attorney, like in this case with the father who's resisting, you have to say, Dad, we're doing this to get an independent opinion from a qualified person. We're all going to agree that we have the right to evaluate the recommendations, but you know what? If they're solid and they make sense, we are going to follow these. And we're sorry if you disagree, but we've got to do what's best for Mom, who can't take care of herself anymore and who it seems like you're uncertain about how to care for her. So this helps you avoid court situations. This helps you avoid being removed as that power of attorney or requesting to be appointed as a guardian for your mother if your father really, really refuses, which in some cases is necessary. I have been appointed a guardian for a spouse when either children were not trusted to act or when one spouse had concerns about their ability to care for a spouse with dementia and to make good decisions. Because sometimes spousal caregivers die before the person who needs care. So if you're a spouse and your spouse has dementia, you could die before them, and then who is going to be that caregiver? So I thank you all for being here. If you have questions or comments, please do post them below in the comment section. Like this video, follow my channel. Your participation helps other people find their way here. Again, there are plenty of links below to my professional background, my website, my online courses, my podcast, my book. I thank you so much for being here. I will see you all again soon in another video.